Alderman Walker.
Here.
Alderman Becker.
Here.
Alderman Rucker.
Here.
Mayor Albery.
Here. All right, we do have a quorum. First item is mayor's communications, and I know that there's going to be more shared with you later in the meeting, but I just wanted to say a super job from all employees during this last winter storm event. A lot of hard work and hours, went into, everything that we were able to get accomplished. Our next item is citizens communication. This is a time set aside on the agenda for citizens and visitors to address the board and mayor on any topic that is not a public hearing, and there are no public hearings on tonight's agenda. For those here in person, speakers will be restricted to 3 minutes unless otherwise permitted. Minutes may not be donated or transferred from one speaker to another. Visitors attending via online will be in listen mode only. Any questions or comments for the mayor and board will be sent or may be sent to the city clerk at tbethran@osagebeach.org no later than 10 a.m. on the board meeting date, which is the first and third Thursday of each month. Submitted questions and comments may be read during the citizens communication section of the agenda. The Board of Aldermen will not take action on any item not listed on the agenda, nor will it respond to questions, although staff may be directed to respond at a later date. The Mayor and Board of Aldermen welcome and value input and feedback from the public. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to share with the board? If so, please come forward. There is no one, so we move on to our first item of business, which is the approval of the consent agenda. If the board desires, the consent agenda may be approved by a single motion. Tonight's agenda consists of the minutes of the February 4th, 2021 regular Board of Aldermen meeting and the February 18th, 2021 bills list. Are there any questions, comments, or proposed revisions? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So
Alderman Morose, do I have a second? Alderman Walker, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is approved. We move on to unfinished business. Our only item of unfinished business this evening requests a second reading by title only of ordinance number 21.05, an ordinance of the city of Osage Beach, Missouri, adopting an amendment to the zoning map of the city of Osage Beach, Missouri by rezoning 6.21 acres as described in rezoning case number 412. The first reading for this bill was approved at the February 4th, 2021 board meeting. Are there any additional comments from the city planner?
No, there's not, unless any of you have any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve second reading?
Motion approved.
Alderman Ross, do I have a second? Alderman Becker, roll call, please.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Alderman Becker.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen.
Yes.
Alderman Walker.
Yes.
Alderman Morose.
Yes.
Second reading is approved. We move on to new business. Our first item of new business is requesting a motion to approve the purchase of 2 trailer-mounted message boards from American Signal Company using the MoDOT state contract in an amount not to exceed $32,399. Assistant City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. The budget for this project was $30,000. We are going to be over slightly on this. As the mayor stated, this purchase is being done through a MoDOT state contract. I did go ahead and check the references on this company anyway and found no problems with the references on these signs. This is a slight upgrade over the signs that we do have. Both of these signs have the cellular capability, which allows us to program them remotely via a computer, tablet, or smartphone, which is a nice feature for us because it allows us to make changes a lot quicker rather than having to go out there and do them in the field. The other 2 signs will still be used. There's been a little bit of confusion when I've talked to several aldermen about that. So we're essentially expanding our inventory of message board signs so that we have 4. Chief is always wanting us to put these signs out, and this just gives us more capability to provide more communication to the residents when we have construction, when we have accidents, when we have other issues where we want people to slow down in school zones or whatever it may be. As I said, this is slightly over budget. It is really early in the year. I am confident that we will find some savings to offset this overage. It's not that big of an overage, about $2,400. 1-year warranty. There is a 1-year warranty on the signs. I think that covers about everything. I do recommend approval, sir.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Yes, Alderman Rucker.
This was more a procedural one. I'm sure some of the staff can answer it. I know we make these signs available to other organizations that they use them for different events and stuff like that. And in the past, we only had 2. Now that we have 4, are we going to procedurally just always make sure we at least have 1 or 2 that we don't loan out? You know, before when we had 2, it was kind of questionable, but is there any thought about that?
Always make sure our priorities are first, and if there's availability.
Right.
And we have to turn on a case by case. You know, there's like Bike Fest, we obviously are gonna do our part to maintain safety on the road, so. Unless Todd can give more details on case by case, but that's always been the overreaching principle.
I'm just wondering now that we've had 4, that even though we would let Bike Fest use maybe 3 of them, that we would hold 1 back just,
We always want, yeah.
In the past, we've always kept our availability here if we needed them. They're not available for other agencies.
The only thing I would add is we do have a mutual aid agreement with the county, and we do sometimes use some of their equipment, and they use some of our equipment. So outside of what Chief and Gina said, we have that in place. But again, it's on, you know, we put our needs first, sir, for sure.
okay, no problem, thank you.
Yes, Alderman Becker.
Do we have need for 4 of these?
We truly do. The part of the problem that we have with the ones that we have is the battery life. These signs they run off batteries. So a lot of times what'll happen is there will be a gap because we have to take one out, we have to charge it, and so we can't utilize it where we want. With 4, that gives us more flexibility, where we can have some of them charging while we're still using them out in the field, or if we have a situation where we need more for a shorter time, we can do that. So I truly do believe, sir, that there is a need for these with all of the requests that we get from the police, and you know, with all the construction that we have going on, I do truly believe there is a need. Yes, sir.
We also have downtime because of, on some of our signs in the past where we've had to replace bulbs and, you know, circuit boards. And,
Maintenance is
you know,
always
all
an
of those maintenance in general, you know, issues. Yes, Alderman Morose.
I will say from past experience and being with Parkway West Association at the time, that we needed a mobile sign, like you said, and we used it, and then all of a sudden we needed another one, but that was not available. And then all of a sudden on Nichols Road, we needed 2, and one was needed to go back to get repaired. And I mean, you know what? With our city, I think we need 4, without a doubt. Between the lake roads and events and our parkway, I'm all for this. Thank you for your research, Michael.
You're welcome.
All right, any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Alderman Morose, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Rucker, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our final item for the evening is requesting a motion to approve the preliminary plat for Northview subdivision. City Planner?
Good evening, everyone. This is a request for a preliminary plat approval for Northview subdivision. Northview subdivision, if you took a look at the illustrations that I provided for you, is basically the lakefront area in the old Oak subdivision on Oak Road. You know, interestingly enough, typically our lakefront properties develop faster than anything else, but in this particular situation, it did not. The reason that this is in front of you tonight, because it's an old subdivision, one might wonder, why are we seeing this? It's an old subdivision. 2 reasons. One is the extension of new public services to these 5 lots that we're talking about. So anytime that we're going to extend any kind of roads, mains, water mains, any of that type of thing, it's a major subdivision, comes back through the board and the planning commission. The other reason is they are actually taking the 63,000 plus square feet, which is about 1.5 acres, was 4 pieces of property, separate pieces of property. Now they are re-subdividing it and making 5 10,000 square foot plus lots. So any subdivision that has more than 4 lots is also considered a major subdivision. So that's why this piece of property is in front of you tonight. We took this to the Planning Commission at their meeting back in December, and then from that time, we've been waiting ultimately for the design engineer for the project and our city engineer, Zach Cochran, to get together, work through the design of the services, and ultimately come back with an approval. I did supply the approval letter from Cochran to you all within your packet. I took this to the Planning Commission with a recommendation to approve, and they forwarded it to you tonight with a recommendation to approve.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Yes, Alderman Ross.
So Terry, I'm just trying to understand, and this may be more Dave, the services. Is there already services there?
There are services in the development.
Okay.
Because we have houses that go down Oak Road. This
Okay.
is an extension of Oak Road.
Okay.
So you're extending Oak Road, and you'll have to extend our mains down the road so that we can serve the new homes.
And so the cost to extend the mains are ours?
No.
It's the
We pay nothing.
developers?
Yeah.
Okay.
We pay nothing. They put it in. We will inspect it as we go along to
Okay.
make sure that it meets the plans that are approved by Cochran. And then ultimately, once the water and sewer and everything is put in, water and sewer obviously is something that we will want to get as part of our public infrastructure. The road itself will be something that will be up to the developer to bring to us. And, you know, if they want to try to give us that for the public road inventory. So,
That's all I had. Thank you.
yes, sir.
Any other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Alderman Ross, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Becker, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. City Planner. All right, next item is communications from members of the board. We'll start with Alderman Ross, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say a couple of things. One is recognize the Public Works employees in general. I know that it was a tough weekend, a tough week between water freeze-ups and so forth. And I talked to Rob and I talked to Chad, and at the end of the day, it looked like those guys were doing well. They were working together very well. They did a great job and appreciate all they did. And the other thing is it's so nice to be off quarantine after 3 weeks. So good to see everybody.
All right. Alderman Morose.
Well, you know, part of it is echoing what Alderman Ross has said. I have been so impressed with our road crew in our city. And when I'm looking at Facebook, I just try to ignore some of the negativism. And I think, you know what? These guys are working overtime, and they deserve whatever overtime pay that they get. And when I'm looking even at our local, what am I saying, residents where I'm at in my condominiums and in the professional services that we hire, and these unforeseen for temperatures that we've all experienced. I'm just so blessed, and I think we all should be appreciative regardless of having people that are willing to get out there and doing what they need to do to help with our roads, lake roads, and whether it be water mains or electricity. And I just think our city owes a big thanks to our infrastructure, and I just am very thankful.
Anything else? Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Well, I think there's probably a lot of folks who don't understand, what it takes to, get some of the stuff off the roads that we've experienced for the last, 10 days. And when you're looking at sub-zero weather and 10-degree weather, things like salt and the things that you don't normally put on the roadways don't work quite as well until, like today or like on Monday or Tuesday of this week, the sun came out and a miracle happened. That stuff started melting because it had a little extra help. So, they don't always take that into consideration.
That's right.
So, but we know, how hard it is to do that. And when our employees working together as a group, helping one another from one group to another, are working 12 and 16-hour days to get the job done and to provide services to our community. That's why I said earlier, a great thanks and kudos to all of our employees. Our police
Absolutely.
department, which we didn't recognize, those guys had to be out in this weather and on the streets. And even for our employees who made it in, to work and provide, services, during that period of time. Alderman Osteen.
My comments would just be redundant because the three of you all
Okay.
basically stole my thunder. On a positive note, the high next Tuesday is forecasted to be 57. So we just need to hang on a few more days with this miserable weather, and it'll all be
Saturday's
just a
supposed to be
sad
45,
memory.
so, we're going to see some major melt.
My bathing suit out.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Alderman Walker.
I guess it is on. Mine is really just to congratulate and thank the Public Works Department also. I mean, it's quite obvious to us sitting up here what they had to go through to get the job done. And very, very impressed with the way they've kept these roads clear. So they've done a great job.
All right, thank you. Alderman Becker.
I just agree with what everybody else has said. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderman Rucker.
Well, I have a little different take. I would like to speak to the board. First, we need to think about what just happened these last 10 days, 5, 6, 7 days. And we need to think about that at budget time when we choose to not provide some replacement of equipment that has been suggested that we replace it every 10 years or every 100,000 miles. And we say, well, let's let it go a little bit longer. We can get a few more thousand miles out of it. That's why we need to have it replaced regularly. So when our staff is out there and these trucks are running 24/7, hours and hours, they don't break down on them. So we have good equipment out there, and that's why I have been an advocate of a vehicle replacement program that we have had provided to us by staff and that we as a board have chosen not to follow. Police cars as well. So we need to be thinking about that when we're at budget time, about those kinds of things when the staff wants to recommend to us to replacing these pieces of equipment, and we as board choose to not do that. So that's what I take away from this last time. I'm just glad that they had the equipment, and I want them to continue to have good, reliable equipment and not stuff that is older and lots of miles on it. So on second note, staff, I commend them for all their hard work and their dedication. In my previous life in a working career, I was out there in this stuff too, and it is miserable. So I appreciate your hard work on that. Thank you.
Also, a congratulations to Alderman Rucker for being grandpa again. Congratulations, a new little boy. How many? When was he born?
He was when?
Yeah,
February 4th.
February 4th. Well, congratulations. All right, moving on to staff, City Administrator.
The only update I have is on the system. I know we're still learning it, but tonight we were soft launching the Facebook Live. That's automatic. So hopefully we'll make a habit of that, of not only having archived through YouTube and on our website, but we'll also be doing Facebook Live videos. The next step, we'll work with all the other public meetings. Eventually, the goal is to have all public posted meetings, whether it's P&Z, Board of Adjustment, whatever those are, we'll eventually get all of them on a routine and have them archived and live on the internet, so.
We still have a couple of updates that we're looking to add to this existing,
Yeah, there's some still technology in-house, but as far as the software and it, working as far as the video enhancement, that's part's done.
Right.
Eventually, we'll see, we may even come to you, depending on the financial stuff, but trying to upgrade our screen and projector where it's hardwired into the building with, TV screens and stuff. So we've still got a phase 2, but as far as the software and the actual live camera, we're soft testing Facebook Live tonight as we speak, so.
And for a second meeting now, we've had a great audio system, which is a
Yes.
superb asset to this upgrade.
We're finally getting there.
Right.
We're getting there.
Yeah, all right, thank
That's
you.
all I have.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
City Attorney. City Clerk,
No, I'm good, thank you.
Chief?
Just to give you an update on our radio project, we are up and running on the new MOSWIN. So we should be accepting the final review of it the end of this month, first of next month, making sure all the bugs and everything are out of it before we sign it over 100%. This Friday, tomorrow, is Cops on Top for Special Olympics. We'll be on top of Hy-Vee raising money, so come out and see us. I think this year gives us a true reason for the reason. It's gonna be cold. And then next weekend is the super plunge and the regular plunge, along with the polar bear strut on Saturday. So come out and support us. Got a few officers that are doing the strut or the plunge. Myself and Lieutenant O'Day are doing the super plunge again 24 times in 24 hours. So.
Just be sure they got a big fire there, okay?
We're hoping the coke thaws out before we have to go break ice.
All right, thanks, Chief. City Planner?
I have nothing, Mayor.
Assistant City Administrator?
I do have a couple of quick updates, sir. First, I want to put some stats behind some of the congratulations that you guys provided Public Works, which is much appreciated. Between midnight on Friday night and midnight on Sunday night, I recorded 42 work orders for frozen meters. 75% of those happened between midnight on Friday night and midnight on Saturday night. Wow. Saturday was tough. Saturday was very tough for our crews, and they worked their butts off. We also had 5 sewer pumps that seized up because of freezing, and that's not easy to do. So we dealt with that as well. Starting on Friday night, our transportation crews went on a 12-hour shift split. So we had 12 in, they would leave, 12 more, and then the other crew would come in for 12 hours. But that was not enough. It just simply was not enough. We had to call in 3 water employees and 2 sewer employees to help plow, because we just could not keep up with it. So this was a team effort, and our guys did a great job. So I just want to kind of give those stats to you so you have an idea of what else they had to deal with. And obviously, if you understand what it is when a meter freezes, our guys have to be down on the ground with their hands in that meter pit dealing with that. And when it's -8, it is not easy. So really appreciate that. And then I want to give some kudos to the park. This is really cool. I'm so excited to tell you guys about this. A couple of months ago, Matt applied for a Field Excellence Award, and we got it. So let me just kind of read a little bit of this to you here. Here we go. We were awarded the Field of Excellence Award from Pioneer Athletics. Pioneer Athletics Field of Excellence national-wide program recognizes hardworking individuals, schools, and communities for their dedication and effort in keeping fields and sporting facilities looking their best. Pioneer created this honor to reward great work and to foster school pride and community spirit in communities all across the nation. City of Osage Beach City Park was one of 73 facilities that was chosen from around the country. And we actually, in the email, it's telling me here that Matt's application was so well done, and our situation was so unique, they have asked to interview Matt, and they will be airing that on their social media channels in the near future. We will be getting several certificates in recognition of this, and a banner that we will be hanging at the park. Obviously, if you guys know Matt, he's over the moon about this. He is so excited about this. It just goes to show you how much hard work he puts into the care of those fields. This is what that's all about. It's about making sure those fields are as good for those kids as we can get them. And for us to be one of only 73 in this country to get that award, I think that's really great. It says a lot about our park and about our staff. So I just want to share that with you guys.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mike. The picture that he submitted several, but one that they used was a shot coming from the soccer fields, looked like from a drone, shot through the soccer fields, picking up the baseball fields, and also picking up our pond, which is a uniqueness within itself. So it was a great representation of our city park. So it was a job well done. It was great, great. All right, Mr. Van Leer with Cochran Engineering.
Good evening, everybody. I've been asked to specifically talk about two projects tonight, that being Beach Drive and Mace Road. If it's all right, I was going to start with Beach Drive. I think that's maybe the quicker conversation. And everyone should have a handout with a large sheet that looks like this. That's the Beach Drive packet. So, in case any of the board isn't familiar with the Beach Drive project, Beach Drive essentially acts as a right-in, right-out onto Osage Beach Parkway. You can only turn right in, you can only turn right out. The parkway is one way at that location. This project is being done as a safety improvement to increase the radiuses coming into that entrance and just create a safer intersection. Just on the 11 by 17 site plan, you see an exhibit of what the work's going to look like. The significantly larger radiuses than what is there now. We've also done some coordination with some of the businesses in the area to make sure that we can accommodate their truck traffic that comes in and out at this location. From my perspective, that's probably one of the more dangerous situations when those trucks are coming off the parkway and then trying to get back on because they have to swing out into multiple lanes of traffic, creating a dangerous situation. So this is the proposed project. In addition to the larger radiuses along the curb, you also see there's a concrete island in the center of the intersection to help control traffic. The reason we have the small concrete island and the large striped island, so the striping, we're trying to guide traffic and cars and trucks, show them where to go. The tractor trailers that come in and out, they need to use more of the roadway there. So they'll go into that striped area to make their maneuvers. So that's a quick rundown on the scope of the project. You'll also see on the sheet we included, we have a proposed project schedule. We have been trying to move pretty quickly with this project. Plans are actually available to contractors right now. We intend to open bids on March 9th. And then to expedite the project, we're going to request first and second reading on March 18th. We feel that schedule gives us the best chance to get this done before Memorial Day, which is what we're shooting for. One thing that has been somewhat dictating the schedule of this project, AT&T needs to relocate about 300 feet of a phone line before we can do the project. They've committed to having that work done by April 16th. So we're kind of trying to be nipping right at their heels as to when we get our contractor out there. So as soon as AT&T's done, we're coming in right behind them. A 30-day construction contract starting on April 12th would be finished on May 11th. From there, I'd be happy to answer any additional questions or provide more information if requested.
Questions? Alderman Ross.
So Dave, on the timing of the dates, so the contract, when we sent this project out, that was communicated in the project packet, for lack of a better term, of these expected dates. Is that how that went?
Yes, and it'll be reiterated in the pre-bid meeting that we hold with the contractors.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Hope we can make those dates. Thanks.
And I do want to just communicate to the board, it's included in this packet. We're trying to get this work done in April and May. Mm-hmm. Weather's suspect in those months, so we'll do our best to get it done. Just want to make sure everyone understands that we're working during the spring, trying to get some road work done.
One of the major issues is getting that cable moved, that AT&T cable moved, because that's right in that 15-foot wide lane on the right side, cutting in.
Correct.
That it rolls right over where that existing cable is, and it's got to get moved. I have one question. On the island, is that going to be a rollover curb there?
No, that will be vertical curb, 6-inch tall vertical curb. It's not intended to be a mountable island.
Okay.
And the main reason of that is we've got the signs the directional signs on there, the one-way and do not enter signs.
Right.
So the island got reduced. It's so small, there's really no room to make it mountable and
Okay,
mount the signs to it.
okay.
The-
So we want to keep the people off the island so
Yep.
they don't run over the
We're trying
signs.
We're trying to keep them
Okay.
off there. And the way we do this is we have software that simulates different sized trucks.
Okay.
Entering and exiting here, and we can make sure that they can make the turns.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much.
If there's no other questions, I will move on to Mace Road, Phase 2B. That was the other handout you were given. And I'll kind of start there, and I think the intent of this conversation is kind of be to explain the project scope. So obviously, Phase 2B picks up where Phase 2A left off, which is on the left-hand side of your sheet. So we're running from in front of Timber Ridge Apartments, continuing up Mace Road, and then finishing out the project to the Osage Beach Parkway. Very similar type construction to what we did on Phase 2A. We are continuing the sidewalk along the north side of Mace Road. That's the light blue line that you see running alongside the road. Street lighting, very similar layout to what we did on Phase 2A. I believe Phase 2B includes another 7 streetlights.
Black and white.
Again, from there, going back to the small sheet, we have a project schedule showing how we intend to proceed with the work. Working with Bartlett and West, who is the design engineer on the project, they're comfortable with having plans ready to release by April 14th. That would allow us to open bids and award the project in May, and then have a notice to proceed issued by June 21st. We feel 150 days is an appropriate length contract. That would have the project done by November 17th. Similar timing as to when we would have finished up the Phase 2A work this past summer. I think that's really all I had to present at this time. If there's any specific questions, I'd be happy to try to address them.
All right, questions from the board? Alderman Ross.
So I have no general problem with this whole layout, except for the fact that we're not straightening Mace Road more. As I understand it in talking with you, this doesn't meet our normal design guidelines where the radius is,
Correct.
okay? And so while I understand that there's been some, over the years, some stories, not specific to it, some other people may have, that Ms. Mace didn't want to lose some trees and things like that. I've got pictures if it's okay with it, if somebody wants them here that I took, but at the end of the day, some of the trees that we're going to lose are ones that are near power lines already that are being trimmed up. I've talked to 2 different people that live down Mace Road, that have lived there for years, and asked them if, should we straighten it or should we keep it nice through there, that little dog leg? And they're like, why wouldn't you straighten it? I understand Ms. May's been here a long time. She's a pillar of our community. And I understand this isn't necessarily easy, but I think that as I look at this project, I think we can make that road a lot better and not have this unique dido, if you will, a dog leg, whatever, in the middle of that road, if we would just bring that over some. And I know that we're gonna have to move some power lines, but if something's worth doing, it's worth doing right, and I think we should consider that, but the board may think differently. And those are my thoughts at this point.
Okay. Anyone else? Alderman Morose.
Well, I just don't quite understand why the route just can't be totally straight, just as Alderman Ross was commenting. What am I saying? To appreciate what someone says, well, this is my property and I would like that or whatever. And I think, we're looking at it in the longevity of things, and to embark on someone else's property and maybe have to compensate for that, I think, why? We're trying to just do a straight road for all the residents on that road. And that's where I'm coming from. I just don't quite appreciate that.
Well, I'm not sure I understand some of your statements, so would you
Okay.
try to clarify some
Well,
of them?
okay, what I'm looking at and then commenting about Mrs. Mace's property, that we have to encroach on some of her property to make this little jig jog to avoid whatever, and I think, why? Why? I mean, just why not just make it straight? I don't know, I don't quite understand that.
One, if I could, Mayor, one thing to explain about the exhibit that I maybe should have said initially. The red area, that's the new proposed road, just to make sure that's clear. The light dashed yellow lines, that's the existing road.
That is what, sir?
That's the existing road as it exists today. So, there's been some, the initial proposal, that we made to the Mace property, and I think that even predates my time with the city. It was a straighter shot through there that would have met design guide standards. It eliminated some of the large trees along Mace Road that were very important to the property owner, and it also requires an aerial electric relocation. A couple utility poles would have to be moved, which further pushes those into her property and eliminates more trees. I think it was about 5 of those trees out along the road were gonna have to be removed. As a compromise, we came up with a design that, Richard said it doesn't meet design standard, but it's better than what's there now. So we felt that was a good approach to try to keep the project moving forward. Obviously, that's this board's final decision, what the final alignment of the road should be.
And we do have a executive session planned after our regular meeting. We will be discussing the acquisition of right-of-way, which is, I think, part of your conversation, Alderman Morose. So we'll get a little bit more, into, that discussion in closed session.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Yes, Alderman Rucker.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, as we talk about the design standards, it doesn't meet the design standards. Those design standards are for new roads. They're not for roads that are already in place. They're for new roads. So if this was a new road going in and we didn't have houses and property lines and setbacks and all the other stuff there, that's a different situation as far as I'm concerned. So yes, it doesn't meet the new construction guidelines that we have, but we're trying to make this road better than what it was or what it is right now. We are decreasing that curve. That curve is manageable. It's manageable with big equipment. I've driven a bus down there with that road, with the way it was. This will make it a whole lot easier to turn. We're also not talking a speed limit of very much at all, so the maneuverability of that curve. And matter of fact, if anything, I see it as a plus because we have tremendous amount of apartments complexes there, which means tremendous amount of kids. So if people gotta go around a curve, maybe they'll slow down a little bit and put a little more safety on for our children. Yes, I would like to see it a little straighter, but I don't think I would want to see disruption of any more of the property there than we have already. And I realize that, the property owner didn't want to get rid of some of that property as well, so I can support this as you have presented it.
To expand on that a little bit, Alderman Rucker, there are some specific provisions in the city's design guide that talk
Hold on,
about.
please. I can't hear you.
Gary, would you close the doors?
When they're out there rolling that, my hearing's not good enough to.
I couldn't hear myself, so I believe you.
Thank you.
The city's design guide does have a section that discusses existing city streets and reconstructions and upgrades. it still leaves a little bit up to interpretation, but it kind of acknowledges that some of the existing streets don't meet design standards due to a variety of reasons, available right-of-way, man-made and natural obstructions. It goes on to say that, I'll kind of paraphrase here, collectors, which is what we would classify Mace Road as, with average daily traffic counts over 1,000, will be upgraded to new construction standards to the maximum extent practicable. So that's what we're trying to decide here, what's practicable, in my opinion. So we've tried to present some to you that we felt was practicable. Again, happy to have any board's final decision on what we go with.
And I think Alderman Rucker's point is well taken. It's a lot harder to hit all the marks where we've got existing development that's taken place over a period of time. And, this is one of those issues. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, the Phase 1 portion of this road doesn't meet design guidelines either from a grade standpoint, does it?
Correct. That hill coming up from the roundabout, it's pushing 20%, I think, and I think your design guide calls for a max grade of 16%. So to me, that's another example of it's just not feasible to implement a specific design standard into a developed street.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
This is hypothetical. I'm trying to go off the legend here as far as distance. Can you ballpark the existing road or the new proposed road here? Exactly how many feet away is that from the existing structure there, Joyce Mace's home?
From the what?
From Joyce Mace's house?
It's roughly 100 feet.
About 100 feet. So if we propose to try to make that a perfect curve road, to take out that dog leg, we're basically looking at bringing this in another 40 feet closer to the house? No? 30?
Here's a picture of if you want to see a picture of the
I'm just looking at it from the property standpoint of, obviously, for resale value as a homeowner, et cetera. If I've got a major road running by my house, and somebody's proposing to bring that in closer to my house, obviously, there's going to be some pushback, because that's going to reduce my property value. That's going to reduce my chances for resale. I'm just looking at how much more are we encroaching on the house than is currently there, as far as distance from her home to the roadway. Just side thought.
I'm going to say that from what we originally proposed to what we have redesigned now, we've moved 20 to 30 feet away from the home farther.
Okay.
So we were coming in, and now we're back on the 20 or 30 feet closer to where it was.
So it's close to your 40-foot that you were referencing. Go ahead, Alderman. Anything else?
No, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, once again, from the homeowner standpoint, and since we're discussing encroachment in property here, getting a better idea of how much more property are we talking, and how much more is that going to affect that residence?
Right. Alderman Ross.
So if I understand it, Dave, there's two sets of stakes out there today. The two sets of stakes, and I got a picture here, are the stakes that the one closest to her house is what we originally decided, and the ones that are farther away from her house right now, and these, and I can pass this around if people want, is what what's on this piece of paper.
Correct.
Is that right? And as I look at this, I think that there might be one place where it's 10 or 15 feet, but it looks like it's more like 6 or 8 feet in a lot of places, because it swings and then it comes through.
Point, sure.
And if this will help, Bob, you answer your question, you can see where the stakes are. You kind of have to move it around. There's no doubt it comes closer, but it's not significantly close to a house that compared to where a lot of roads are already. And it sure takes the bend out of that curve.
I agree, Alderman Ross. Their pushback, or the pushback from Mace's initially wasn't, they never said it's too close to the house. It was the trees.
It was the trees they were trying to save. Right. It's a very unique lot down there. It kind of has an extension out towards the road, and that, however the road got laid out years ago, it followed that path. Right, there's a power line through there right now. 2 of these trees are already shaved back from the power lines. So if we're saving trees, we're saving trees that the power company's been gnawing on for many years. So anyway, I just think this is a road that is there's a lot of traffic on this road. I don't know, I would guess that maybe better than other than Nichols, it probably has as much traffic as any other road other than the Parkway. And to have that dogleg, for lack of a better term, in there when we could move over 8 or 10 feet and straighten it out significantly, in my mind, is worthwhile.
Any other comments? All right, thank you. Anything else, Dave, that you brought to discuss this evening?
I don't think so, unless anyone has questions on any other projects that we're working on. I will tell you, here over the next few meetings, you're gonna be seeing bids for the cleaning of the Passover water tower. And then also shortly after that, you're gonna be seeing bids for the Sands lift station rehabilitation work that we're doing.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just have one question.
Sure.
If we were to consider changing this, or if the board wanted to change this, do we need to do this now? Is that after executive session? When's the best time to have that decision made?
I think it would be best that we discuss, again, as I said, the acquisition of right-of-way.
Okay, no problem.
Okay,
That's all I
in
have.
executive session. All right, Dave, thank you very much. All right, I am now requesting a motion to close the meeting as allowed by RSMO Section 610.0212, leasing, purchase, or sale of real estate by a public governmental body where public knowledge of the transaction might adversely affect the legal considerations thereof. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Alderman Rucker and Alderman Ross, roll call, please.
Alderman Walker. Yes. Alderman Becker.
Yes.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Morose.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen.
Yes.
All right. What's that? Yeah. All right, we're now going to executive session. Take a 5-minute break before we head in.
Did you see what that picture was showing?
I figured I was sticking around.
I'm looking at it from the property value.